I'm Ethan Brem, aka The Twiz,
And I'm Ashley.
and this is He Said, She Said, where we watch movies and review them. We just watched the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, produced by Michael Bay, and starring Megan Fox. What'd you think?
It was better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I
Yeah.
thought that it was going to be a pretty lame movie, but it actually was better than I thought. So.
It was pretty good. I mean, like, it's not as eye-rolling as one would expect.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think if you go into it thinking it's going to be sucky, I think you'll come out at least pleasantly surprised, if not more. But you have to also understand, with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comes sort of immaturity and, like, goofiness. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is, yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. And people nowadays, I think, tend to forget that that's what the spirit of the franchise was back in the day. And because nowadays everyone takes their action movies like really seriously, and they're like, oh, it needs to be like epic and all this stuff. But in reality, the Ninja Turtles weren't that. It was just it was a fun, like, kind of rompy superhero group.
I think that maybe they could have had a better leading lady. Than Megan Fox.
The acting was kind of lame.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, the voice acting was pretty good, but I think it's sad when one of your best performances on the screen is by Megan Fox.
That's true. It's sometimes she just talking, and I was like, oh, why did you say that?
Really? I thought she was actually better than she was in Transformers.
I don't know. It was still pretty bad for me.
Other things I've seen her in.
It was still pretty bad for me.
But yeah, Will Arnett was funny.
Yeah, he was. I think that they had a good mix of humor and, like, action and seriousness a little bit.
It wasn't as, like, off the wall necessarily as, like, Guardians of the Galaxy was. Like, it was a little less irreverence. Yeah,
and I think it was a little bit more understandable when they were so silly because they were supposed to be teenagers and they were supposed to be immature. So I think that it had a better balance, and I did feel more emotionally connected to them than I expected to, I guess. I didn't know that I would feel for them that much, but I feel like I had a pretty good connection with them.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the dialogue in the script was kind of like bland and like elementary. And it was slightly more juvenile than the original, but it still brought the goofiness and the uniqueness of the original. And I like how Splinter was saying the whole time that they weren't ready. Yeah. And then they actually went out into the world and, like, went behind his back, and it turns out that they really weren't ready. Yeah. I mean, they couldn't beat Shredder, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of interesting because usually you have superheroes who are like, oh, they're gonna win, like they're gonna defeat the villain, and then they go in and then they defeat him, and you're like, okay, well, I knew that was gonna happen. Yeah. But this time, like, they actually like couldn't beat him. Yeah. And it took like kind of a fluke in order for him to get defeated. Yeah. You're right. I mean, most of the entire film, when they would fight him, they just would be fighting a losing battle. They would lose every time. I mean, the humans they were fighting against, but when they were against Shredder, they were always failing. Yeah, so. And I'm glad that they kind of recalled back to that, like when Splinter was like, I told you weren't ready, but it was your teamwork and, like, your ability to stick together that helped you guys defeat him. They kind of, they didn't just, like, shrug off the fact that they weren't beating him. I was kind of confused why they didn't show Sax die, and I don't know if that was intentional or not, because they showed him getting hit over the head by Will Arnett's character, and then he fell, and then Will Arnett escaped, but they didn't show Sax die. I think he just got knocked out, and they're, like, leaving it open, maybe. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. I think that's what they did. Well, because also at the end, I know we talked about, maybe you thought they were going to have something at the end of the credits. I think that they didn't, because they kind of incorporated it in the movie when Shredder had fallen to the ground, and then he had some of the mutagen was in his hand, and at the very end of the movie, they showed him closing it to, like, save it in his hand. Oh, yeah, that's right. So I think that was supposed to kind of be foreshadowing another movie. I thought it was interesting that they picked Raphael to be by himself. I thought that was a good choice, because he was kind of the one who wasn't all for teamwork. He wanted to be the leader, but was never put in that leader position. So I think it was cool to see him have that experience with Shredder and have him lose, like, so badly and realize that he couldn't do it by himself. I think they picked a good. They set that up pretty good. I think that was interesting. Yeah. So it was nice to see that they. Sometimes, like, I feel like lately with movies, sometimes you don't always see that there's planning, like, going into it. Like, things are just kind of happening in action movies. Yeah. But you could tell they had, like, that planned. Yeah, they actually. It was conscious. Yeah. Yeah. So. I thought the whole origin story, the unique twist on the origin story, was cool. And except that I thought it was slightly similar to the Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, where like the partners and they're working on something, and then like the dad dies, and then except April was a girl instead of Peter Parker was a boy. Mm-hmm. But and then you know she's trying to uncover what her dad was working on and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it was cool how the turtles that she was with when she was a kid were actually the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that was cool.
I didn't see that coming.
I thought that was an interesting twist.
Yeah, and even though I know you kind of got sick during the action scenes, I thought it was some of the most unique action sequences that I had seen in recent action movies.
Maybe that's why I got so sick, because they're so different from what I normally watch. Maybe it made my equilibrium.
Yeah, it was kind of spinny and stuff, but I don't know. I thought it was very well choreographed.
Yeah, I did too. I agree.
A lot of it was the CGI characters doing it, but I thought it was really well planned out, and it didn't just seem like hodgepodgey.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, even when like Transformers, that's all CGI fighting, but that's really scattered and not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I hate the fighting scenes in Transformers. At least the later ones. The first one was cool.
Yeah.
But the later ones, they got too confusing. I'm like, I don't even. Well, and the enemies look too much like the good guys, and it was just confusing. Final thoughts?
I thought it was a fun movie. Overall, it was better than I thought it was going to be. I enjoyed myself. So, What about you?
I liked it pretty good. I thought that the runtime was perfect. I mean, it's better to have it a little bit short and, you know, feeling satisfied as opposed to it being way too long and, like, a script stretched way too thin and you're like, oh, my gosh, when is this movie going to end? Like, it was, like, a perfect runtime, I think. And it was way better than I thought it was going to be, and the action, like I said, gave it some more points for me. What would you rate it?
I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah. I give it a 78 out of 100.
Cool. Yeah. We weren't so close that time.
Yeah. Thanks for watching He Said, She Said. We'll see you next time.
Yep.
See you later.
Bye.
Peace.
Wait, do it again.